Greetings and salutations, my beautiful circus monkeys. Drake here, and I've come back today with something new. The golden age of the circus may have passed, but despite the decline in ticket sales and people's sudden lack of interest in actually going outside and doing interesting things, the circus continues to live on. The circus is actually really good at adapting, evolving, and surviving, and always has been. Throughout the generations, hundreds of shows have come and many have gone. Some managed to stick around to the modern age, while others either folded with larger shows or struck their tents and closed for good. Some of these shows made such an impact on the industry and left such a mark that their legacies continue to this day. Today I have compiled a list of my pick of the top 5 American circuses in history. Note that before we begin, this is only a list of American circuses. Now, there's a lot of really fine circuses out there in the UK, China, Russia, and other countries. Many shows that I would actually like to go see one day, but that is beyond the scope of my expertise as a circus historian. My expertise is in American circus history. So, for that, today we're only going to be discussing prominent American shows throughout history. So that said, buy a ticket, get yourself some popcorn, and take a seat. Let's begin. Number 5. The Hagenbeck-Wallace Circus. Founded, at least in its first permutation, in the year 1884, the Hagenbeck-Wallace Circus wasn't the first show in town, or the second, or the third. By the time Benjamin Wallace and James Anderson had put together a circus and loaded it onto a train, they were a couple of Johnny-come-latelys to the industry. Buying up equipment from several failed shows, they went on the road. When they merged with animal trainer Carl Hagenbeck in 1907, the Hagenbeck-Wallace Circus was officially established. This show has gone down in history not because of its spectacular performances or its huge menagerie, though. Unfortunately, the circus would become famous for its long train of tragedies. In 1903, before the B.E. Wallace Circus even merged with Hagenbeck, their train crashed in Shelbyville, Illinois, killing 2 and injuring 4. 2 weeks later, the train wrecked again, this time killing 35 and injuring 121 people. In 1913, the Wabash River flooded, inundating the Hagenbeck-Wallace Circus's winter quarters, killing elephants, horses, and destroying thousands of dollars of the show's equipment and supplies. On June 22, 1918, the train carrying the circus and its employees were traveling near Hammond, Indiana, when it was involved in one of the worst circus accidents in history. While stopped, another train collided with the Hagenbeck-Wallace train, resulting in a horrific crash that killed 86 of the performers and staff and injured 127 others. Afterwards, the circus was sold and resold until 1938, when the new owner, John Nicholas Ringling, decided to close the show for good. I chose this company for the number 5 slot because, as infamous as it was when it came to accidents and disaster, they really stuck in there and tried. And sometimes, that's all that matters. Number 4. King Brothers Circus. When Floyd King bought out the Bud Anderson Circus and Clyde Beatty's show in 1945, he took the show on the road as the King Brothers Circus. Don't know where the brothers part came from. Maybe old Floyd thought it sounded circusy. They toured the country for a decade before being sold, then merging. The brand is still owned, and a show still operates under the name, but for all intents and purposes, the original King Brothers Circus went defunct in 1956 when the show became too large to handle and was divided into a pair of truck shows, which both did poorly and closed. Despite their short run, the King Brothers Circus deserves the number 4 rank in my book, because they had some beautiful posters and advertisements, and some of the prettiest trucks to this day. Don't you think so? Number 3. The Algie Barnes Circus. My number 3 pick is for the Algie Barnes Circus. In 1895, Alpheus George Barnes Stonehouse decided he wanted to start a circus. So with a single pony, a phonograph for music, and a slide projector, he did just that. That's like starting a garage with a screwdriver and a can of gas. With pluck and no doubt a fair amount of showmanship, he made it work. And in a few years, the show was a huge 3-ring circus. Traveling by train, the Algie Barnes Circus touted that they had more animals in their show than all of the other circuses in America combined. They did in fact have a huge menagerie of animals, enough in fact that they opened a zoo in Venice, California. What makes this circus more exceptional is that when they were seeking a lion tamer and animal handler, they hired a woman named Mabel Stark. Usually a role given to men, Stark proved to be one of the best animal trainers in circus history, performing with several shows, including number 1 on our list. So, for being able to build a circus out of a horse and a record player, and for hiring Mabel, I have to give the Al G. Barnes Show my number 3 trophy. Number 2. The Cole Brothers Circus. William Washington Cole may have ended up as one of the handful of people who actually got rich from starting a circus, but his legacy extends to more than his sweet, sweet bank account. When the show opened in 1870, nobody could have guessed that the Cole Brothers Circus would become so prevalent in American culture. If you ask a circus fan to name any other show than Barnum and Bailey, they will often say, Cole Brothers. Traveling the West and playing frontier and mining towns, they supplied entertainment to the bored and hard-working miners, cowboys, and ranchers of the time. When the Depression hit and many shows were forced to close, Cole Brothers shut the doors and turned the signs. Until a pair of intrepid circus impresarios stepped in. They retooled, restructured, and revamped the show. Then, traveling on 35 train cars and a myriad of colorful wagons, they took the nation by storm. Switching from trains to trucks and evolving with the times, Cole Brothers continued to thrive. Even today, the beloved circus that operates in a reputable manner by reputable people still thrills and delights crowds wherever it travels. For this, I had to give Cole Brothers the number 2 spot. Before we get to number 1, here's a list of some of the fantastic and historically important shows that didn't make the list. The Clyde Beatty Circus. Though a good show and quite prolific in its day, this show only lasted 10 years and survived by eating smaller shows. Daly Brothers Circus. Despite only being around from 1940 to 1950, these guys get a lot of name drops in the community, even today. The Culpeper and Merriweather Circus. Okay, these guys have been around since like 1895, and they're still putting on shows. You ever hear of them? I've only been vaguely aware of them up until now. Talk about the tortoise in Aesop's old story, huh? Now for my numero uno pick. Number 1. The Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. For my number 1 pick of the most influential circuses in history, I went with, big surprise ladies and gentlemen, Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. Anyone see that coming? With more than 150 years of non-stop circus shenanigans and being a household name in America since our great-great-grandparents were kids, and founded by the greatest showman himself, the Big B is without a doubt the greatest show on earth. The Big Show was started by none other than P.T. Barnum in 1871. It truly became an icon when, in 1880, he merged his show with the Great London Circus owned by fellow showman James Bailey to form the Barnum and Bailey Circus. By 1900, the show traveled on 85 rail cars, had 5 rings, canvas measuring in the thousands of square yards, and enough animals to start several zoos. It employed over 1,000 workers, trainers, and performers, and put dozens of shows on per year. In 1907, the Ringling Brothers, owners of another widely popular circus, bought Barnum and Bailey, and the 2 shows officially merged in 1919 to form the largest circus in the world. Surviving the Depression, 2 world wars, television, and changing public sentiment, Ringling is still around, still the show you think of when somebody says the word circus, and will still be part of our collective consciousness for generations to come. So that's it, folks. My personal pick for the top 5 most influential circuses in history. What did you think? Remember to like this video, and if you're not already, subscribe so we can keep more beautiful circus content coming your way. Join our Patreon to help with all the financial hullabaloo that comes with being a circus tuber and running this channel. Help us defeat the evil galactic empire that is the entertainment industry and the YouTube algorithm. A special thanks to our Patreon patron Python. Thanks for your support. Now we've reached the end, so as we say in this biz, see you down the road.